All right, so I'm out here again after work hiking around. I literally just parked and I was gonna walk over here to a trailhead, and I saw a old chimney stack down here. So I started looking around here, and right exactly where I parked, I found an old cabin, it looks like. So I'll show you this cabin. We'll walk down there and then we'll hike up the trail and see what we find today. So right here is the first cabin. You can see they have all these bigger rocks, and there's a little bit of concrete here too. Was the oh, and actually I just noticed this right here, I think were stairs going up into the cabin right there. There's that right there, which is concrete. That might have been the chimney, which, I mean, looked deep in here. There's some more right through the tree. I don't know if you can see. There's a big pile of stuff there, so I bet you that was the chimney. We'll go around here and look at this. Yeah, so this was probably the chimney. And it looks like it was outside of the cabin, which is pretty common. Oh yeah, there's some more. Oh, right here. There's a chunk of concrete poured, and then they probably built this on top of it. And then this one is pretty good size. You can see the outline of wall right there. And this one keeps going. So not a lot left, but a little bit. All right, go over here. See what else we can find. Yeah, we're right on a reservoir, right out there. So I don't know how long this reservoir has been, or the reservoir has been here, but I'm sure that these cabins were put in pretty close to when the reservoir was put in. Big stack of slash pile there. And then actually this is another one. This isn't the one I saw from the road down there. So this is a lot smaller, and it looks like it's mostly chimney here that's fallen over. A lot of brick in this one. There's a wire. I don't know. I don't see a bigger footprint. I don't know why they would have. Let me see if I can get The cool rocks that they... Well, that's a question. Did that break like that? I would imagine it broke like that. That's pretty cool. All right. What is that? Let's head over here to the big one. Some metal there. Oh, there's a whole bunch of metal right here. No idea what that is. All right. So, coming down here, you can see that big chimney. This is a big flat spot here. Some bricks laying around over here. Probably people have taken those to make little fire rings with, I would imagine. So this one is still in pretty good shape. What the other ones would probably have looked like. So there's a conduit right there. Looks like an old wire in there. I don't know what that'd be for. It's tall. It's at least 8 feet up there to the top from where I'm standing. And here's a hole. So I don't know if that's how they took ash out or what. We'll have to go around back, see if there's a scooping spot for ash. There's a pipe right there. And then we have a piece of metal. Actually, this whole piece right here is metal too. I don't know. You can see daylight up through there or not. Yeah, and right here, that's the reservoir, so literally right on the reservoir. Down pretty low right now. This side's, oh, there, right there. So it looks like you'd pull the ash out right there. They didn't have to carry it through the cabin, I would imagine. Built it right over top of that rock. Just encompassed it. They found some pretty cool rock. There's another. Well, that's just that's an old kettle. That must just be a squirrel hole. Alright, well, that's all I see here. So I'm going to head up this trail and see what else we can find. Well, I didn't get very far. This is a pretty steep trail. I know that doesn't ever do justice, but it's going up pretty good. But right here, there's a really big rock, and there are 2 crosses. I have no idea why they're here. They don't say anything. That one looks like they jam rocks into that crevice to keep it standing. And this one, they piled rocks up also to keep it standing. That wire looks like it's been there for a minute. I have no idea why they're here. Well, that's that. All right, I'm gonna keep going. There's a trail intersection up here, and get to that intersection and then decide which way I'm gonna go. All right, so here's something I haven't showed you yet. I'll probably show you in lots of videos over the time, but we're going on a trail, especially a well-established one that's old. You're gonna find spots like this on a tree. So what that is a blaze, and should be a one on both sides. This one doesn't really have it. I'm sure we'll find another one. But what that is marking a trail. And so it should be on both sides of a tree every so often. And so when you're going down a trail, sometimes they get hard to follow, and you can use those blazes so you can find the trail. And then the other thing, like this trail is cut out, but you'll always see saw marks on the trees that fall over the trail, and so that is also a really good way to find a trail, especially an old one. So this tree fell over, obviously. That could be a blaze on it. We'll see if there's one on the other side. So there's one on the other side. So this tree was marked on both sides. That's an old one. And this tree is fallen down. So as you go down a trail, sometimes they're hard to find, and that's how you would get back on the track in case you couldn't find it. So I'll probably point that out many times, but they're all over the place. All right. Okay, so here is the intersection. So what the sign says is that way several miles is a lake, and it says that several miles that way is a lake. So looking, actually this way is shorter. This is not several miles, this is 1.5 miles. So looking at this is an old ditch, and what it looks like I don't, looks like it's going, looks like that way is going down. So they probably pulled water out of a creek or a lake down here. I assume hand dug this entire ditch, and I don't know, they must have been using it for irrigation to get from one lake to another one, and then watering out of that lake, or just going to a somewhere they could drain it down the hill. I don't know. So we're gonna follow this. We're gonna go this direction, and then while I'm at it, right here is a perfect example of a blaze. A lot of times they look like a upside down exclamation mark, and so that is a true blaze right there. And this just happens to be the tree that the sign's on. And from here I see one on this tree and possibly one on this tree. So they usually do them pretty close together so you can see them. They're not always this close. Right there. Probably one here. And then let's go look at this other one. And then I'll move on to other topics probably. And most likely, yep. So that's typically how the old blazes are working. So I'm gonna cruise down this. This ditch goes for a ways. I'll just follow it till I have to turn around, I guess. Just let you know if I find anything. Okay. So here is what looks to me like a bear marking its territory. So from what I know, bears will stand on their hind legs, reach as high as they can. They'll have to turn their head sideways and bite the bark, just like this, and that will show how big they are. So this is crazy, if that's what this is. I see coming down here, I see claw marks here. I don't see, maybe there's claw marks right there. You see the teeth marks that bit that wood. And there's claw marks here and down lower. So the thing is that I don't understand is I am 6'5". This is Montana. There are grizzlies, could be anywhere around here. But that's 8 feet. The top of that's 8 feet. That is 8 feet to the top, easy. Maybe even a little more. So, if that's a bear, that's a big bear. So I just came out into this little opening, and there's just no shortage of things to see out here in the mountains. Like there's things everywhere from people that have come through all this country before us, and I find it very interesting that there's so much. Like they did so much out here. So I saw this white thing, so I came over here to look at it, and It is an insulator. So they would use right there. What I know, I don't know this country very well, but I know country that I've been in the past. They would run those from tree to tree, or they'd put up their own poles, which I have a video of earlier. There's a video of some of these poles, and they'd run a line from fire lookout to fire lookout to just for communication, and that's how they did it. And that's the only one I see right here. It's a nice little open spot. These trees, these are big trees, they've been here for a long time. So I don't know if it came up this ridge, down this ridge right here, or if it was going down the trail that I was just on. I didn't see any. That's a big tree. I'll poke down here for a second, see if there's any more. Usually where there's one, you can find another one, because they stay in trees really well. I'm not seeing any more. So I don't know where that's coming from, where it's going. I don't see any more over here. There's a trail going that way, down this ridge. And being that that one was on this trail more than the trail that I was on, makes me think it's going down that ridge. But I don't know. I'm gonna go get back on the trail I'm following. There's a blaze. So right here, perfect example. I got off the trail, now I'm trying to find it again. And I see that blaze right there. And I can see it from a long ways away, so I know the trail's over here. I think it went around all that mess. Actually, the trail, so they stopped, whoever was cutting it out stopped cutting it out right here. This is where they stopped. There's no blaze. So that trail was very easy to find, and it just completely stopped here. So now going through here, you can see there's cut logs. That have been here for a while. So this is how you have to follow trail that's not cut out. I'm gonna go around this tree. Gee whiz. This is a mess. You can see all these cut out. But look at that. That is just ridiculous. There's a blaze. So I almost went this way because you can see a little game trail going there. But then I saw this cut out. So the trail went nice and flat for a long ways. And that ditch that I was following just ended. So I'm assuming they dumped that water down into this draw. And they were irrigating at the bottom of this draw. I figured it went to that lake, but another blaze. Yeah, they dumped. They dug that trench over and dumped it in this draw. And so whatever's at the bottom of this draw, or they were feeding, or they went down the straw and then shoved it back out. So this is what it looks like when trails are not kept clean. Usually, so it's the Forest Service is the ones that are supposed to clean it out. They hire out people to do it. A lot of times they're just underfunded and they just can't keep up. So a lot of times hunters will cut out their own trails, outfitters and people going in to hunt. And then there's a lot of ATV clubs and different types of clubs, backcountry horsemen. They get together and they do clearing for the Forest Service as well. But this is the state of a lot of trails. They just don't have the money to keep them cleaned up. All right, well, here's another cabin way back in here. So this is the old wood stove, what's left of it. Bunch of metal laying around. And then this, lots of metal right here. And this is, I don't know what that is. Maybe an old bed frame. Could be bed, something bed. I don't know. I don't know where the cabin actually sat here. This is this isn't that flat of a spot. Could have been this little spot here though, I guess. It's kind of dug out. Somebody's got so basically what I found, I was on that trail. I came uphill because it looked like it was looked like it was more cut out, and I found this old road, which I don't know if it's closed or not. But right here where the road ends, the fire pit, and then it was that metal, and actually I don't know if this is just an old pile of wood. Yeah, I don't think this is anything. Oh, there's something else there. Yeah, it's just an old pile of wood. They logged in here at some point. That's an old fuel can. I'm just going to go back up this way and back to, I'm going to meet the trail back where the insulator was in the tree. This looks a lot easier to go up here. And actually this trail right here probably ties right into it. Another piece of metal. Yeah, this trail probably goes right to it. There's an old blaze. So I'm gonna follow this. I bet it comes out right where I found that insulator. Which now makes sense why they didn't cut the trail out down there in the bottom, because this was much easier to bring a trail off that road. There's some rubs in here. One right there. I see one right through there, two right through there. That little one. Bunch of activity in here. right back here. That's how I that's how I learn new country. I just go walking around in the woods, seeing what I find. Thought this looked like it could be a old cabin, but I don't see enough that tells me it's a cabin. Alright, well, alright, I'm back to where I found that insulator. So from here, I'm just going to be backtracking on the same trail that I already walked on, so I don't anticipate finding anything else today. So I'm going to say thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Well, I guess I'm not quite done. I'm just walking along this trail and look over, and there's some old cans sitting here. And then this old jar has a little bit of water in it. .204 NW and then a 15. No idea what was in that guy. Pretty cool though. Little bonus.